Hey everyone, Christina Simmons from Say Yes to Holiness here. I'm back again this week, especially in the wake of kind of the contentious national elections that we had and continue to have at this point. But one of the things I wanted to share was about, are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling kind of stuck, like you're in this eternal Groundhog Day? Well, then there's three things that you need to be focused upon as you're moving forward in order to kind of move through all of that, find that peace, find that purpose again, set aside that anger, and being able to really move forward with your life. And what's the first thing? The first thing is that I was struck by this quote and from Matthew Kelly, and he says, "When our bodies are hungry, our stomachs growl. And when our souls are hungry, we become irritable, restless, confused, overwhelmed, exhausted, anxious, discontent, and tend to focus on things that matter least and neglect the things that matter most." So what's the first thing we can do? We can feed our soul. Our soul is what's longing for that peace. Our soul is what's longing for unity. Our soul is looking to know that all things will be well. And God tells us that everything is going to work out, that He works to the good for those who love Him. But we aren't, if we're not tapping into that each and every day by nourishing our soul, by doing the four things I always talk about: daily prayer and meditation, frequenting the sacraments by living that life of grace, by striving daily for a life of virtue, and by abandoning ourselves to God's will, then what happens is that then our soul begins to shrink. Our soul begins to dry up. So one of the first things that you can do in order to be able to set aside that anxiety and that anger and not be stuck anymore is to nourish your soul. Do those things that I just talked about. Be doing daily prayer, going to the sacraments more than just once a week, striving to grow in virtue, and particularly do this through corporal and spiritual works of mercy. Shower your love upon people. And then fourth, abandoning yourself to God's will. One of the greatest mantras that I've heard, and I use all the time, every day I say this: Jesus, I surrender everything to you. Take care of everything. And He does. But that's the first thing. Nourish your soul. In whatever way that you need to, nourish your soul. The second is practice gratitude. It's really easy to get so focused upon all the negative, about all the bad things that are going on, that we forget all the good. We forget the fact that we live in a nation, regardless of all of what's going on, we live in a nation where we have food, clothing, shelter. In fact, food galore. Right now, you still, even in the midst of the coronavirus, you still can get on an app, and for most of us, you can have, all sorts of food brought to your home within 45 minutes. That's just amazing. But, for us to be grateful for the fact that we have access to food, that we do have access to, a roof over our heads, that we have, most of us, we have clean drinking water. We don't have to worry about whether or not we're ingesting poisons when we go to the tap or when we're taking a shower. These are just small things that 99% of the rest of the world don't have access to. So my figures might be a little off, but the fact is that we are blessed. And for us to come at our life each day and start and say, what are three things I'm grateful for today? I woke up and I have food in the refrigerator, or I woke up and I have a job to go to, or I woke up and my kids are all healthy and well. So there's so much that we can be grateful for. So that's the second thing that we need to be about. So we need to be nourishing our soul. And then second, we need to be practicing gratitude, cultivating that attitude of gratitude. And what's the third thing? We focus on the things that truly matter. And I'm not saying that the national election or politics or anything like that doesn't matter. But we need to be focusing upon the things that are going to bring us long-lasting fulfillment and happiness. The church has taught for centuries that we need 6 goods in our life in order to be finding that happiness and fulfillment. And what are those? First is physical goods. So the things that I was talking about, to be grateful for, but also, our fitness, our health, our taking care of ourselves. These are all, physical goods that we need to be attentive to. Getting enough sleep, that's a huge piece too. So the physical goods, the spiritual goods, and I already talked about this, nourishing our soul, being intentional about that relationship that we have with God. And that ties into the third good, which are relationships, our family, our friends. We need to be reaching out to one another. We need to be cultivating these things in our lives. Don't isolate ourselves. Rather, reach out and remember that we are all more than who we voted for or what it is that we might believe in regards to how we need to go ahead and make this country great. The fourth is our achievement. This is where most of us spend our time, our work, our schooling, wherever it is that we are pursuing meaningful work and contribution. The fifth is intellectual pursuits. These are the things like our hobbies and our interests, but these are the places where we normally are pursuing truth. And finally, beauty. We need to cultivate in our lives an appreciation and expose ourselves to beauty. Even if it's as simple as going for a walk outside on a beautiful day, we need to get out and we need to be experiencing beauty. So these are the 3 things that you can be about. You can be nourishing your soul. You can be practicing that attitude of gratitude. And third, you can be focusing on the things that truly matter. I hope that all of these tips will help you be able to feel less anxious, to let go of that anger, and to get unstuck, to move forward with your life in pursuing the life that God desires for you. So that life of purpose and peace and abundance that I always share about. Thanks again for your time. I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. And just as a heads up, I'm doing a Preparing for Advent. To preparing for an Advent that's full of hope and joy and peace. And I'm doing that on Saturday, November 14th. You can find all more information about it by going to sayyestoholiness.com. So I hope to see you at that Zoom workshop. And if not, know of my continued prayers for you. And I hope to talk with all of you soon. God bless.